Joe here, Profit First Reseller. Kind of a heavy boots day today. It's like an overcast day. I'm doing some reflecting. It's kind of dark outside, and I'm a little bit worried about this YouTube channel actually. So I want to talk to you about it today. I'm worried that I'm glamorizing this lifestyle a little bit, and I haven't talked about the costs of having an eBay store that can produce $1,000 a day, and in a way of turning myself into this kind of machine that can do $1,000 a day if I choose. But I really haven't talked about the costs very much, and kind of the costs of absorbing a lot of the ideas of hustle culture that have kind of been all around me. I think going back to when I first started listening to Gary Vee, so many years ago, and I really liked his early stuff. I first found out about Gary Vee when he was doing his wine reviews a long, long time ago, before he got more into the motivational space. And I liked his energy, and I liked a lot of what he said, and being family first in a way, something that resonated with me, and that still does for sure. But something that not necessarily Gary Vee said, but as I got more into the space of motivation and working and achieving your goals, making money online, entrepreneurship, I'm sure a lot of us have fell into the same rabbit hole. I started to notice that the same message of, if you're not building a business that works without you, all you're doing is creating a job. You need to build something bigger than yourself. You need to scale. You need to build, be bigger. And I think a lot of that, in a way, is kind of an American idea of always perpetual growth, corporate expectations. I think it's just kind of built into our ethos at some point. I think as Americans, we're just expected to be improving in every way, every year, or else the stockholders will be upset. And we just assume the economy is going to grow every year. And I think it really is pervasive in a lot of ways. And I had applied that mindset to myself in a lot of ways. And so my first business I've talked about before was a food cart and a restaurant. My wife Heather and I started. I thought that the way to run that business and to make it successful was to scale. I really hadn't even thought about any other ways, which is why I've talked about now with this second business with eBay, I'm a lot more profit first. And I'm trying to think about really designing a business that fits my lifestyle. A little shout out to CL Furlong here, who talks about that a lot here on YouTube. CL Furlong, great YouTube creator here from Australia. And he's another eBay seller. And sounds like we got a guest. Hold on one second here. Hello. Oh, hi, I'm doing a YouTube video.
I don't like to.
What? You don't like me?
No.
What?
I don't. I like you so much.
Oh, you love me so much? Oh, I love you so much too. You want to say hi to YouTube?
Hi.
Look right here.
Hi.
Okay. See you later.
See you later.
Okay, I'm going to do a YouTube video, okay?
I did.
Okay, bye.
I don't like. I like you.
You like me?
Nah.
I like you too.
You don't like me.
I like you. Yeah, are you worried about that?
Nah.
Well, I do like you and love you. Okay,
Love you
definitely.
so much.
So much. Okay, bye. You know, I thought about editing that out, but this is why I'm doing this. I'm designing this business so that I can be here for those moments, right? That is what this business is all about for me now. And I've realized that. And scaling my last business got in the way. When my older two kids were his age, I was a lot more distracted with employees and scaling. And it was a different time for me. And I really appreciate that the second time around with eBay, I've been able to create a business that suits my lifestyle. And I realized I'm family first at the end of the day. I want to be here for them. That's why I'm so motivated. The fact that I have a family and that I need to make money to support them has really fueled me in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, it's about being here for them, not just about putting the hours in and working. And so two people that have really resonated with me the most are Tim Ferriss and Seth Godin. I listened to both of them a long time ago in the very beginnings of my entrepreneurship, and I still listen to both of them now, and really their messages really resonate with me. And I noticed something about both of them. Neither one of them aspire to be big business owners. They do like business, they like starting projects, but both of them, Tim Ferriss and Seth Godin, identify as freelancers. They work on projects, but they prefer to work solo, and so do I. I have enough to answer to, and in fact, I love being able to answer to my kids, but my fuse for that is short. I only have so many times that somebody could urgently call on me. And when I had employees, I was a lot shorter and I had less energy and attention for my kids. And now I really see this in a whole new light of, I don't need to scale. I think so much of that hustle culture idea is about this idea of you need to scale up to this much per year, build this machine that can generate so much money. But I realize I'm in it for the long haul. I like having a job. Now when I hear those influencers saying, if you're not building something bigger than yourself, you're not building a business, you're just building a job. I'm like, why are you saying that as if it's a pejorative, like having a job? Like we all, I think, want something to work on that is able to utilize our skills and helps us to feel wanted and needed in the world and something that we can contribute to. I love having a job, but what I love is a job that I can have control over. And this idea of scaling and getting bigger and bigger and always, and that's why I think the only reason that my business is doing as well as it is now is because in a way, I stopped listening to those influencers and I started figuring out, how is it going to suit me in a way that I'm just powered by joy? And this is what I want to be doing. And that really is. When I go into my evenings now, I don't feel like I need to work. When I had employees and we had a business that was open 7 days a week, I had to work. And that was okay. I built that engine, but that certainly wore down some parts of me as well. And now I feel like I go into the evenings, maybe after the kids go to bed, and I know I have a few hours of time where I could either watch a movie or I could work on my eBay store. I give myself permission to do either every night. I try to treat myself these days like a puppy. Like I just want to give myself lots of treats and lots of positive rewards and like positive reinforcement, right? And like I don't respond well to beatings or to internal mental beatings of like I should be this and I should be that. I'm just trying to assume the best in myself too. Like I'm doing my best, and if I'm resting, it's because I need to rest. And because I've continued to surround myself with stuff that I'm passionate about, and I've continued to connect that long-term idea of the more time I put into eBay, the more financial security I am creating. Like that is a powerful feeling that does drive me. But I'm not driven in that same way of the need to take over or to grow in the same way. I'm just letting the business be a reflection of what I'm capable of. My 90-day total has dropped significantly, but it's still higher than what a lot of people would be able to achieve currently. And I'm super grateful for that. I'm trying to maintain perspective there of like, my 90-day total was in the 130s before this sinus infection. And these days, I'm just kind of like doing what I can with the energy that I have. And I'm grateful for that. Another great thing about this business that I've created with eBay, where we've kept it so small, it's just my wife and I out of our house, is when I'm not able to produce, when I am sick. This is the second time this year I've had a pretty serious sinus infection that's affected me for a couple of weeks. Our business expenses drop almost to zero, right? We don't have employees to continue to need to pay for. Often when you're sick, but you have this big engine, this business that you've created, you are continued to be needed to make decisions, unless you've built something completely passive. But that is just, I think in reality, that's so rare. I think it's easy to talk about building a business that can work without you. Like, good luck. A business that works completely without you, like you have zero input. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of those examples of successful businesses. Like it's hard out there. It's hard to create a business. It needs energy. It needs creative spark. It needs somebody who's really passionate. Or a lot of people, preferably. So here I'm rambling. I was intending to list some Guitar Hero guitars here. That's why my phone's recording here, but I think I'm just going to leave it as just a small rant about hustle culture and the costs, and just recognizing that work is not everything. I'm fairly confident that when I'm, in my far later age, looking back on my life, I'm not necessarily going to be wishing that I spent more time here in my office, just like on my phone listing items. I'm going to list items as much as I need to. I'm going to do the work, the hard work, sometimes the soul crushing work in a way of just like, day 12, more weak controllers. Like sometimes it can be really tough. It is a job, but I've learned to embrace that. I have a job that I have control over. And if I don't want to sell Wii remotes at the end of the day, I don't have to. But at this point, it's almost like it's a bakery and we're making cinnamon rolls or something and our customers love them. And after the even if you're so passionate about cinnamon rolls, after you've made the 1000th cinnamon roll, the customers are still passionate about it. You might not feel that same passion necessarily about making the cinnamon rolls, but you can find, hopefully as a business owner or owner of the bakery, maybe some fulfillment in a greater sense of how it is providing for your family and providing joy for other people. And that's what I'm starting to feel as well, is there's not always joy in the work itself. It's a job, but no job is all joy. I think that's okay. I think it's okay to train ourselves to do hard stuff. I think at the end of the day, that'll probably separate you from the competition. So yeah, hustle culture. I think it's more about looking inward and not letting other people tell you what your dream life looks like. You know, I'm so happy that I just get to wake up and work essentially here in my extra bedroom in my house. I'm a homeschool kid. I grew up homeschooled. I want to be just mostly at home. This is finally a job that suits me. In the restaurant, I was out until 11 p.m. washing dishes and helping the crew close up the kitchen, and it was a very different life for me. And I'm glad that I did it, but I'm glad that I'm here now for sure. And I think, unfortunately, part of what got me there was listening to other people telling me what my kind of dream life should look like. I need to build a business in order to have an impact. Like, of course not. Like everyone who does something in the world that people desire is having an impact. Like all of it's helping. I think it takes all kinds of people. And I really realized business ownership was not for me. Probably not for most people. It doesn't have to be. Numbers wise, it doesn't have to be. eBay's a really cool little middle ground where I really do love managing myself. I'm incredibly hard on myself. I've realized this recently. I had this realization to my wife. I was like, it's a good thing I love myself so much because I am so hard on myself. Like, I'm not hard on other people. I don't really have expectations of other people, but I'm like so hard on myself. But I also can say without cringing that I love myself. Like I do. Sometimes I'm like, Joe, you made a mistake again, you rascal. But I do have that underlying of like, I'm just doing my best over here. And hopefully there's a little bit of a balance there. I don't want to be like a sociopath. Like I want to be able to recognize my flaws. But I think I do. I think I'm constantly analyzing myself for flaws. But luckily I also have that self-love that's also really high up there. And I think that's kind of a unique mix that I have maybe that allows me to be a solo entrepreneur where I can really look back on my own output for the day or for the week and say, all right, Joe, how'd we do today? I don't know if that's if we repeated that 10 days in a row, is that really going to support the family or do we need to make something change? And I'm constantly having those conversations with myself. And it's hard. It's hard to do. So I think so much of it, especially if you are lucky enough to be considering a career like eBay, where you can kind of design it to be whatever you want. VAs, employees, nothing. The sourcing, all of it. You can source completely online, completely in person, completely from businesses, or there's so many ways you can make it suit your lifestyle. And a lot of it is just asking yourself, like, what do I want to spend my days doing? Like personally, I've realized I love spending my days being home and really available for my little guy to come in here and ask me if I still like him. I think he had a moment of insecurity. I think that's what he was asking me a minute ago. He was asking if I still like him. It's too bad. We have to go give him an extra hug. But he knows. We just had a big family hug a minute ago, and his key phrase, he's 3, he's the youngest one in the family, he's the baby, he says, I love you all. And we were all having a big group hug, and like, it's moments like that I want to be here for. Like I was technically clocked in, but I ran over there to go get in on the group hug. Like it's moments like that. I'm realizing like this is the lifestyle that I'm happy that this eBay business suits me for. But if I was still listening to people when I started this eBay business, if I was still listening to the same gurus on YouTube and on Instagram or wherever, Facebook, I guess for me, I'm not on Instagram much, but if I was listening to those same people, I think I would have immediately started hiring employees on the most, repetitive tasks in the business, the shipping or the listing, and figuring out how to scale and scale and scale. But I'm so glad I didn't. I figured out ways to get more profitable instead. And that's actually way more rewarding for me. So I can keep it open, keep it light. So I guess that's it. Oh, my phone's disappeared at some point. I think we're going to call it there. But hustle culture, yeah, don't listen to them. It's hard work will definitely get you results, but I think it's important to do a lot of soul searching about like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like work does take the life out of you. Like it is an investment of your own personal energy. Like you only have so many hours in your life? This is a key question to ask yourself. Like, am I building a business that I actually want to be an owner of? So I guess personally, I spent a few years building a business that I actually was not having fun owning as much. It was fun. It was rewarding in a lot of ways, but it wasn't as suited to me as this current eBay business. So anyway, just kind of a heavy boots day. I don't know. I hope I'm getting across some thoughts here. A little bit of a rambling video, but thank you all for joining me on this little ramble. And yeah, I'm Joe, Profit First Reseller. See you in the comments. Peace.